Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back. Y'all, today we're just kind of having a half day, so we'll just have one folder, a green folder, and there's two puzzle pieces in there. This is the only video you have to watch. And today we're solving quadratic equations using tables and graphs. Okay, we've kind of done some of this, so we're going to focus on solving quadratic equations, okay? Guys, today's objective, again, is to solve a quadratic equation from a table or a graph. All right, you can do it from a graph or from a table. And the essential question, and you need this for the notes assignment, how can graphs and tables help you solve quadratic equations? Well, first, guys, what does it mean to find the solution to a quadratic equation? What does that mean? All right? Guys, it means a number of things. All right, the solution to a quadratic is where it crosses the x-axis. All right, the solution to the quadratic equation, it's the values of x which make the function 0. So you set y equal to 0, or the function itself equal to 0, and then find what is x. All right, we've kind of done this a little bit with factoring. And sometimes the solution, or solutions, they're called the zeros of the quadratic, because the function itself, the output, is 0 at that point. We're finding the x value, which makes the function 0. Okay? All right, well, how do you find the solution? Well, one way, and we talked about it, is to factor the quadratic. And we're going to look a little closer at that here later this week. You factor it, you set it equal to 0, and then you solve for x. All right, you use that zero product property, where each factor itself must equal 0, so you find x. And another way to do it, and we're going to look at that today, is to graph the quadratic and just see where it crosses the x-axis. All right? I'm going to say there's another way. You can generate a table of values and see what values of x make the function 0. You could do that too. All right, guys, some quadratics have two solutions because they cross the x-axis in two places. Okay, here's an example. And again, we can factor this and see x minus 2 times x minus 6. When those equal 0, then x has to be 2 or x has to be 6. And that's where they cross the x-axis. All right, some quadratics, they only have one solution because they touch the x-axis in only one place. Those are the perfect squares. Okay, they just come down and touch the quadratic. They have one solution because this is x minus 3 times x minus 3. All right, 3 is the only solution. Guys, in some quadratics, they have no real solutions. They never touch the x-axis. They're above the x-axis or they're below the x-axis and they never touch it. Okay? Guys, you're going to learn more about those in Algebra 3. They do have a solution, but it's not a real solution. Okay? There's something called complex numbers that have an imaginary part to them. And you'll learn about them in Algebra 3. All right, how do you solve a quadratic when you're given a table? Well, guys, just find the value of x when y is 0. All right? When the function itself is 0, what is x? All right? And again, you can see if you factored this that the solutions are going to be 1 and 6. You can put it into Desmos if you want to. All right, which is just what they do here. And you can use a table and generate, or use Desmos and generate a table. We're going to do it right now. Then identify the values of x when y is 0. Okay, I kind of did it right here. Now we're going to go ahead and go over and do the whole thing. X squared minus 7x plus 6. All right, let's go to Desmos. All right, this is what I do. I just go x squared. I put it in there first. I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing here. X squared minus 7x plus 6. Minus 7x plus 6. I just want to look at it. Okay. Let's come down to create another slot here. And I go up here to this plus sign. It says add item. And you can add a table right here. Okay. And I changed this x1. I just wanted to say x. Just x. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to put the equation x squared minus 7x plus 6. All right, then I can generate my table of values by putting the x in there. I'm going to start down here kind of like -2, and then just I arrow down. So -1, and then I put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that, 8. All right, generate some values. You see them, they kind of plug in there, they kind of plug in there for us. And just look at it. When is the output 0? Right here, 0 and 1. So one of the answers is 1, and we can see that from right there, 1, 0. All right, the other one is down here where x is 6, right there. All right, x is 6 when y is 0, and again that point is right there. All right, so a table of values, you can find that if you can find the zeros. Okay. Guys, sometimes, though, it doesn't exactly land on a perfect point. It's kind of hard to tell where it crosses the x-axis. So we can just approximate, kind of take a guess. All right? Again, look at the y values. You see one of them up here is 0. All right? So x, -2, that's one of the solutions. And then start looking. The y values are negative, and all of a sudden they switch to positive. So somewhere in there, it must have crossed the x-axis. Somewhere in there, it went from negative to positive. Somewhere in there, it must have crossed the x-axis. All right, so our answer, the second solution, is somewhere between 0 and 1. So you can just approximate, say about 30, 0.3 or 0.25 or something like that, okay? Again, we can put it in Desmos and see, put it in Desmos. All right, let's do that. 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. All right, 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. All right, and that's what I'm going to put right here. 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. All right. There's our values all pop up in there. What is this value? -2. Okay. So guys, when is it 0? Right there at -2. And then you start following -4, -2. Oops. So somewhere between 0 and 1. And you can see we can cruise in here. You see between 0 and 1. And if you want to click on that, you get a real good, 1/3. All right, 1/3 and 0. But you can just kind of take a guess by looking at the table. It's between 0 and 1. All right, it's a little closer to 0 than 1. All right, because it's -2 up to 6. All right, that's a good way to do it. Just kind of get an idea. And guys, look, you can always graph it and get exactly, no problem. I just want you to understand how to find it from a table. All right, guys, that's it. Fill out today's notes assignment, please, and complete the summary in the green folder. There is no second Zoom meeting today. There is no orange folder today. There is no vocabulary assignment today, all right? Guys, that's it. Thanks.